All right, traders ended up making an $11,500 profit on the day. I started the day up with a 20% plus profit return on Rivian call options at the lows towards the dip. I then ended up buying SPY call options twice when it was at that 432 dip, yesterday's bear trap level within the video, back-to-back wins at the bottom. I then ended up buying META call options towards the exact lows for a very nice spike and 15% win. With that being said, I'm going to show you on how we've been able to bottom tick calls and buy right before the spike, right before the reversal, multiple times today for massive profits. We had a phenomenal trade on the SPY right around 2:30 p.m. for a 100% plus out of money to in the money 432 strike price for 100% return on the 0 dates. With that being said, it was truly an incredible day. We had 67 people go green today, only 6 red. The day before that, we had 74 green, only 4 red. The day before that, 69 green, 7 red. People are absolutely killing it within Trader Society, and I'm going to be recapping the trades and show you how this is possible. As you can see right here, I alerted my Rivian calls at the market open. That was a nice 27% win very, very quickly within 7 minutes. Then I ended up alerting META calls at 1:05 p.m. and I added into the dip. I almost bottom ticked this. Right here at 1:05 p.m. on META, I bought calls when this was at 278.40s. Then as it was dipping, I added more, and then I sold into the very nice rip at 279.50. That was a phenomenal trade. And then in terms of SPY, we absolutely crushed it on the call side with the SPY, man. If I type in 432, you can see right here, we're going to type in the 432 strike. I made this very, very clear within my watch list. If we go to the watch list right here and also in yesterday's video, I clearly had stated the best level is $432 to buy calls on SPY. And then later in the day, I updated that level to $431.40. I said $431.40 is the new best level, which was the exact lows. If you go to the key level later in the day, I uploaded saying $431.40 is my new best price for calls. That was updated at 11:20 a.m., which was literally the lows on the day, and I played that as well for a very, very nice profit. I'm going to show you on how I was able to bottom tick calls multiple times today at the exact lows, and we had some crazy opportunities. So we're going to get right into it, man, because we had a crazy play. This was it. It was the call options. I took a starter right here at 2:17 p.m. I told everyone it's going to reverse at 2:30 p.m. And then I literally bottom ticked this at the exact lows, going in extremely heavy. You can see I was adding some here as it was dipping. And then right here, this was the exact bottom at 2:23 p.m. I alerted that I'm all in on calls in terms of my portfolio, and it skyrocketed and reversed at 2:30 p.m. just as we expected. And then I bought calls at the exact bottom again on the SPY at $431.50 for a very, very nice quick reversal and $2,500 profit. I'm going to show you on how we're able to bottom tick calls and crush it within this market. So let's get straight into it. And then I'm going to give you the updated levels on the SPY. So in terms of our key levels, why did I decide to buy calls on SPY at this 432 level? We're going to start off with SPY. So in terms of that, like I said, if you've been studying the overall trend, this is now 5 days in a row where this trend has been working. What do we know about the SPY? Whenever it forms that green bullish 30-minute candle towards a key support level that has been tested or hasn't been tested, it tends to uptrend a little bit more. That's one thing we know. We also know whenever it tests a new key level at support for the first time, it tends to have a reversal. And right here, as you can see, $432, this was a previous resistance level, and it had a very nice drop. But once it broke above this resistance, it created a massive bear trap, and it was never retested. The high of this was 432. So the most likely outcome is the first time those 432 calls go out of the money, meaning the SPY price goes 432, bringing the 432 call strike out of the money, the most likely outcome is they're going to spike them back in the money for a quick reversal. And surely enough, the first time it went under 432, it reversed and it spiked very, very nicely. And we hit that twice. We hit it down here and we hit it down here. And then I also hit calls at 431.50 for a nice spike to 431.90 within a one single minute candle, flipping a $2,500 profit. And the hint that was giving it away that it was going to continue to reverse is if you've been studying this overall trend, every single time, despite SPY going lower and despite it going down and, making people think this is overall bearish, if you've been paying attention to key support levels that were never tested, right here, this is a key support level that was never tested. The first time it tests, bullish green on the 30, it starts to uptrend. This was a nice key support level that was tested. Notice how these key support levels that I'm pointing out have bottom wicks and bear traps were created. Very nice bear traps were created. Right here, this was the first time I test, 30-minute green, just like it did right here. Nice move, nice uptrend. And then what was that other level? I told you guys 432, because once 432 broke out, it triggered the craziest bear trap to 444. So the first time it drops back to 432, they're going to try to turn that previous resistance into support. And the hint was, it was already beginning to reverse slightly above that level. It kept reversing right here at 432.70. And then it kept reversing right here, slightly lower at 432.40.70. And if you're seeing these bullish wicks and all these wicks, I kept buying calls every time it tested a wick. Every single time for the past 5 days, SPY has been testing the wicks or the low of the day, meaning if a nice bear trap gets created towards the open or towards the middle of the day and it drops back down towards the bottom of the wick, towards the bottom of the wick, it would create another bear trap. That's one way. It's like, in a sense, you didn't even have to be good enough to know about the 432 level. A simpler way would have just been to say, okay, let's study where the bear trap has been getting created. And if SPY retests the lows of that bear trap the same day, let's buy calls. Okay, so right here, this is where the bear trap got created. Okay, let's buy calls on the retest. Okay, so right here, this is where the bear trap got created. Okay, let's buy calls towards the retest. Okay, right here, this is where the bear trap got created. Okay, let's buy calls towards the retest. Okay, right here, this is where the bear trap got created. Okay, let's buy calls towards the retest. Okay, right here, this is where the bear trap got created. Okay, let's buy calls on the retest. You didn't even have to know about the 432 level, but if you knew about that 432 level before it hit, you would have had the most competence in the market to hit that level with confidence, and we did it twice today. It was such a killer play to hit that right before 2:30 p.m. where the out of money 432 strike right here, these calls spiked 100% plus because they were so theta decayed and so destroyed, and there was only an hour left on these zero dates. And if you can predict a crazy 1-point reversal spike like that in a short period of time where people don't expect to happen, those calls are going to go through the moon, man. And that's exactly what it is that we did, and we timed that trade perfectly. Now, in terms of a visual pattern that most people didn't see, that I made it very clear and pointed out in the chat, was there a visual pattern to be buying calls at 2:30 p.m.? Because I said very, very clearly in the chat, at 2:30 p.m., SPY is going to reverse and it's going to spike. So we're going to buy calls slightly before then, and then we're going to add right before 2:30 p.m. And then our prices was 431.80 to 431.60. That was our overall zone on that. And with that being said, this was the pattern. I want you to compare these ovals that I'm going to draw to this pattern. So we knew 432 was likely going to bounce first, right? I explained to you why. Now look at this pattern. You have 2 uptrending candles, and then you have 2 downtrending candles, right? So just look at this. It's like an upside down V, you can say, in a sense, right? So just look at this pattern right here. Compare the left to the right. Now, I want you to compare the same exact thing to what happened. Look at this. You have 2 green candles right here uptrending, and then you have the 2 red candles here uptrending, right? And then you see the bottom wicks, and then you see the bottom wicks. What happens after that second red candle right here? It spikes. It spikes. Do you see that? It's the same exact pattern, man. Are you kidding me? And I also brought awareness to this trend and this pattern that has been repeating itself. I've been telling the bears, if you want to do put options so badly, wait for the SPY. I made it very, very clear. Wait for the SPY to get a new high of day, or wait for the SPY to fill the gap. And if you see a red bearish candlestick, then you could do your puts. So listen to what I just said and now study this. Right here, these are the morning highs. SPY gets a new high of day. It forms a trend reversal candlestick. It doesn't have to be a bearish candlestick. It could be a trend reversal candlestick on the 30-minute. And then it starts to drop. Right here, these are the high of days. SPY breaks out. It gets new highs. It forms a red bearish candlestick. Once it gets the new highs, then it starts to drop. Right here, SPY gets a new high of day. It forms a red bearish candlestick. Then it starts to drop. Right here, SPY has a crazy bear trap at open. I didn't do SPY calls, even though it was close to my best level. I went with Rivian instead because I liked Rivian and it was oversold for the time being. And I made a 27% return on those Rivian calls within 7 minutes. But notice how once SPY gets those new highs, after the bears got trapped initially in the morning, SPY gets those nice new highs. What has been happening? When SPY gets those new highs and you see that 30-minute close red, surely enough, it starts to go down. We are in the most predictable market you can possibly be in, man. I'm telling you. If you were good, it's never been easier to be great, man. Anyone has access to the market. Anybody can trade SPY. Anybody has access to a Robinhood account, to a Webull account. It's so easy to get started trading nowadays. It has never been easier to take other people's money out of the market if you know what it is that you're doing, you have that third eye open, you have that competence, and you put in the work, man. I'm telling you, this has been the most predictable market that I've ever seen, and it's absolutely on fire, man, and we are consistently crushing it on a regular basis. With that being said, those were the overall trades that I came up with today. Now, why did I decide to buy META calls? The reason why I bought META calls towards the exact low is because I've been studying overall trends, and the overall trend is whenever a key bottom wick support level hits at an oversold level, it tends to spike. So I was looking at META and I was saying, okay, where are the craziest bear traps getting created on this stock? Right here. This is where all the crazy bear traps are getting created. Right here, a crazy bear trap got created at 278.10. Right here, this nice bottom wick. I love the bottom wicks with big upside. This is what I love to see. A bottom wick at 277.80 with a crazy bear trap in such a short period of time where it spikes all the way to $284. Are you kidding me? If META drops 10 points and is oversold, and you see this green bullish wick on the 30-minute chart at this bear trap level, you better believe it's going to have a short-term pump. Now, I didn't wait for the green bullish candle to form. I went with the oversold price. I visually looked at the chart and I said, okay, this is down 10 points. Give me a break. The most likely outcome is it's going to have a short-term spike. And if it were to have a short-term spike, it would be at the exact bottom of this wick, which is at $277.79, because the bears got absolutely squeezed and wrecked within less than 45 minutes to a rip from 277s all the way to 284. You need to put yourself in situations like that where you're buying at the most oversold wicks, the craziest bear traps, where it's having a crazy move to the downside. It's down over 10 points. Everyone's bearish, and then they get trapped in the lows like this towards the bottom wick and towards the support. You know, the worst thing you can do in this market is to be shorting at key support levels, is to be shorting and buying puts at the craziest bear trap levels possible, especially when it's getting a big overreaction to the downside and a crazy oversold move, right? That's where you're buying calls at the bottom of the support channel and at the bottom of the wick on the first initial reaction. And there was a 30-minute bullish hammer confirmation, which I pointed out as well, but we were in way before that. But this right here is a confirmation to hold a little bit longer or to even add to your calls slightly and sell into the rip, man. That was such a phenomenal play. That was a recap on the overall trades today. We truly crushed it. And in terms of competence, I'm telling you, man, this is at all-time highs. Trading has never been easier for those who are great within the market. It has never been easier to take money out of the market. But it is not easy to become great. But once you have it, and if you stick with it and you remain competent and you don't let your emotions control you and you are in control of your emotions and your emotions don't affect your trade, I am telling you, it has never been easier to be great, man. It is so predictable to catch a trend and catch a pattern with the 30-minute chart, wait for the trends to develop, and understand and have that plan. This is now the 5th day in a row where if you were to wait for the SPY to hit our key oversold support levels and buy the dip, you would have made money 5 days in a row. And yet we still don't have a 100% success rate. I get it. Everybody's not going to be able to go green, but I want better results, man. I'm looking at the polls and we're at a 90% plus success rate. But for people to still be red on the day, it just makes truly no sense. It's the same thing we did every single day for 5 days in a row. How can you have not catch on yet? I understand it's going to get to a point where it's not going to work anymore. It works until it doesn't. But if you hit it 5 days in a row and you rack up $30,000, what's a $3,000 to $4,000 red day going to cost you? Then you take your red day and you say, okay, the trend's no longer working. The patterns are no longer working. Let's have a great reset and wait to capture the next one. Let's wait for something new to develop. It wasn't too long ago where I was so focused on buying put options, but then I realized if you just buy the calls at the key oversold dip levels, it just keeps on banking. And it's not going to last forever, but once it stops lasting, I get stopped out quick, and then I have a great reset, and I wait for a new trend to develop, for a new level to hit. I'm telling you, man, we are trading the best setups at best prices, and there's nobody truly doing this, man. It is truly incredible in terms of what we're able to do within Trader Society. And if you do want to be a part of this team, it is the first link down below in the description. So with that being said, if you want to join, it's instant access. It's a one-time fee and it's lifetime access. Now, in terms of my trading plans heading into tomorrow Tomorrow's very, very simple. We're going to continue to do what has been working for us. And in terms of what has been working for us, we've been doing two things. You can wait to buy calls at a level that has never been tested. So our new level that has never been tested yet, and this is the best way to do it, $430. There's a gap to fill at $429.90. When the price goes under $430, they're going to try to bring those $430 calls from out of the money to back in the money for a quick scalp. So that's our new level that hasn't been tested yet. That's the best thing you could do. Now, another trend that has been working out is you wait for the bear trap to get created. So wherever it gets created, you wait for the bears to get screwed. So for example, right here, the bears got screwed. The bears got absolutely trapped at 432.60. When it retests the lows, buy the dip, sell the rip. That's another thing you could do. You can buy the low of day retest. But if you're doing that, you want a crazy overreaction. That has been working for 5 days straight in a row. This is the low right here, you buy the retest, it works. This is the low right here, you buy the retest, it works. This is the low right here, you buy the retest, it works. This is the low right here, you buy the retest, it works. That has been working for 5 straight days in a row. Now, what I like doing most is I like trading levels that haven't been touched yet. Like 430, that should be an absolute phenomenal trade. And my other level is 428.87 for calls, right? So I'm studying the new levels that haven't been hit yet where the bears have been getting trapped, and they've been getting trapped at 430 and they've been getting trapped at 428.87. Those are my two levels, right? So if 430 calls go out of the money, they likely pump back quickly to in the money, sell the rip. If 429 calls go out of the money, they likely pump back quickly, sell the money in the mid, right? And we're buying these out of the money, right? Now, in terms of the overall bearish trend, we're going to keep it the same. In terms of being bearish and buying puts, there's two ways to do it. You can buy puts at an overbought gap. So if the gap from 437 decides it wants to fill, you can buy puts there. If the gap at 437.30, this is at 436.50. If that fills, you can buy puts there. If the gap at 437.20 fills, you can buy puts there. If the gap from 439.50 fills there, you could buy puts there. And then 442 retest, that is an amazing level for puts. You could save all those levels within time. We could try puts there, right? And then another strategy you can do for puts is you wait for a high of day breakout and you just want it to keep on trending up. You want the bears to get destroyed. And then once you see it's above the high of day and a 30-minute candle closes red, and it's towards some key resistance, that's when you could try your puts as well. Those are the two recommendations I could give for puts. So super simple. We're doing the same exact thing that has been working for 5 days in a row right now. And I get it. It works until it doesn't. But I'm going to keep on hitting these trends and keep on hitting these patterns until it doesn't work. And again, I am not blindly doing this. I'm using confirmations and I'm trading what I see. Now, in terms of blindness, where there's less confirmation, I will admit this. There is less confirmation if the level has not been tested. Meaning, if it goes to 430 for the first time, there's less confirmation, and I'm kind of just getting in on that 1 minute and that 5 minute chart, not caring too much about the 30-minute chart, unless the 30-minute chart is telling me to stay clear away because it's super bearish, right? Same with 428.87. So initial reactions, I have less of a confirmation, but I do trade what I see. Now, if the 30-minute is just super bearish, I'm likely not going to hit it. But if it makes sense, like one of the reasons why I was hitting calls at 432, I was noticing, and this has been happening for 5 days now, whenever SPY would retest a bottom wick, see the wicks right here, the bottom of these wicks where these little bear traps are getting created, whenever it would retest the bottom of this wick, it would spike. So that would be another reason for me to buy calls, because I noticed all it would do is spike at the bottoms of these wicks towards key support over support levels. And we've been able to identify these key support levels by looking at the chart and understanding, okay, these are levels that haven't been tested. $432. We've been discussing this for days now. $432. This is previous resistance. It's likely going to react to support because once it broke above 432, it triggered the craziest bear trap in the world. So of course we're going to buy calls at the previous resistance that hasn't been tested for the support level, right? And also understanding if the bears are getting trapped nicely at key support and there's a bottom wick at that key support, we're looking to buy calls. Right here, there's a nice bottom wick. The bears got trapped at open. It retests the bottom of this wick right here, and it spikes back up. We buy low, we sell into the rip. Pay attention to the bottom wicks. Pay attention to the low of day retest. Pay attention to all this stuff, man. It is consistently working, and we are consistently crushing, man. Like I said, man, it has never been easier to be great in the market. It's not easy to become great, but once you are great, it's never been easier to be great. It's never been easier to stay great. I'm telling you, it's never been easier, man. So many newbies and so many retails, the volume's at all-time highs nearly every single day. Like, it's truly unreal in terms of the market we're in, man. Everybody's getting involved in the market. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have the level of competence. They didn't put in the work in. Did you sacrifice a lot to get to where it is in terms of where you are in your trading career? Did you sacrifice at least 1/3 of your life into this? Because I did. I sacrificed 8 hours a day for the past 10 years of my life, all studying price action and reading charts. And I'm getting it down to where it's an exact science. It truly is getting to the point where this is an exact science for me. My competence is at all-time highs. I'm comparing myself to where I was 1 to 2 years from now, and it just keeps on going up. The trajectory just keeps on going up in the level of confidence and the level of competence, and it's out there, man. I'm telling you, there is no excuse. This isn't make or break it. This gets to a point where losing is a choice. You got to make it or make it. And I'm telling you, it's out there for everyone if you put in the work, man. And everyone's in different situations. I completely get it. But it's possible. No matter what situation you're in, I do truly believe it's possible for anyone in terms of where it can be. You got to make it or make it. It's not make it or break it. You have to make it or make it, because I'm telling you, it's out there and it exists. It just takes time to master, and you got to put in the work, and you got to have the right guidance, and you got to have that third eye open. You got to be able to capture trends. You got to be able to read the market to understand and read the price action, right? In terms of some tips that I can give you in terms of how I help develop my third eye is, I look at the same exact platform on the same exact device for charts, 8 hours a day, every single day on the market. And what I've noticed in terms of my experiences, that has been on an iPhone for me, that has been on a small screen for me, that has been on the TD Ameritrade mobile app charts for me, that has been my experience. Now, if I take my experience and I bring it to another charting platform, I bring it to a desktop, I bring it to a bigger screen, I bring it to multiple monitors, I can assure you I will not have that state of mind, I will not have that flow state, I will not have that confidence, I will not have that level of competence, because I do believe a part of my success is the time and focus I dedicated to the device and to the platform that I traded on. I 100% believe that. I also believe in terms of having focus, I think the easiest way to have focus is to trade on your phone, because it is so easy, at least in my experience, to be locked in on your phone where there's no distractions if you turn off notifications and you're not getting all these random notifications, but to just be laser and focused and to stare at your phone. I truly believe that's the easiest way to have focus, because everyone's fucking addicted to these smartphones. I don't find, being on my laptop or being on my desktop super wired in and super focused in. For whatever, in terms of that, I don't have it. It's not there. The state of mind's not there. The connection's not there. I don't want to fucking do it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right for whatever reason. But in terms of when I'm working or when I'm on my phone, it's truly addicting and it's truly fucking easy. And I truly believe there is a special connection that you can develop by trading through a phone and through that flow state and through that state of mind in terms of focus. If you can get focused and wired in to one screen, and you are studying the same time frame or a couple different time frames flipping back and forth, you're going to start to see patterns. But if you're looking at a big screen with multiple charts, multiple time frames, your eyes aren't going to be wired into one singular thing. Your eyes are going to be moving around into other things. But if you are truly locked in and zoned into one screen, and like I said, in terms of focus, I think the easiest way to get focus is to be on your phone. It's so fucking easy to be addicted on your phone. And if you have a phone addiction and you're just watching that screen, I think it's genuinely easy to start seeing some patterns, to start reading some price action. And that just has been what's worked best for my experience. That started for me because I got very involved early within the market, when I was in high school. So this was a very long time ago. And, I didn't really focus on school. I would just literally trade on my charts on my iPhone the whole entire day. Teachers really didn't care. I was in a lucky situation where they truly didn't care. They were just passing kids in terms of Florida schools. They can care less if you put the work in or not. They were just passing kids, man. So I was in truly a lucky situation at that time to be introduced to the market and to also punt everything and sacrifice basically everything in my life to this, man. I'm telling you, it is out there, man. It is out there, man. And you have to put into the work. Make sure you guys are always putting in the work, because it's out there. It gets to a point where it's you got to make it or make it. There is no think or swim. There is no I'm not going to make it. There is no you can't. It's there. It's out there. It just takes time to develop. And I'm just sharing with you some of the tips and tricks that helps me get there along the way. And like I told you guys, if I'm not on my smartphone, if I'm not trading on the smartphone, if I'm not trading on my TD Ameritrade mobile app, reading the charts, it's just not fucking there for me. And I accept that. I don't try to improve on my weaknesses, right? I stick to what works for me. I don't care what other people say. Like, oh, I wake up early. Oh, I look at my, I could wake up directly at market open. I'll do exactly fine. Now, I don't encouraging, drinking or drugs or anything like that before a night before the market open. I would never do that. You're going to set yourself up for failure. But, I would really recommend you to just focus on trading the chart. I don't use any indicators. Trade the chart. Try to develop some sort of connection with a smartphone, because I'm telling you, in terms of my state of mind and focus and flow state, it's all through this fucking smartphone. I can't do it on the desktop. I can't do it on a laptop. It's just not fucking there for whatever reason. And that's the tips and tricks that I would give you. With that being said, if you do want to be a part of Trader Society, it's the first link down below in the description. We're going to absolutely crush it tomorrow. I will see you guys till then.